Hey there, Tesla fans. Aaron Rath here from Rat's Tesla, and today we're going to have a discussion about battery charging and battery management. You know, Elon has talked a lot about battery management and battery charging on Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it. It's weird saying X, but Elon has talked a lot about it, and his mantra has always been ABC, always be charging. And there's a lot of debate on the percentage that you should charge to and all that. Well, I want to have a discussion on that, and I have some real world numbers to show that always be charging might not be the best thing for your battery. So let's dive right into this. So like I said, Elon has said always be charging. What that means is you charge your car up, whatever percentage you decide to charge to, you drive for the day, you come home, you plug it in, you get up the next day, you repeat it. So it's kind of a wash, rinse, repeat type thing. You charge every night and you drive every day, and then you go from there. I think that is not necessarily the best plan for you, and I'm going to show you some of the things that show that. But first, let's look at some stuff first of all in the app and in the owner's manual for the car. And I'll put all the stuff right down here so you can see it as I'm talking about it. The first one is that always be charging. In the owner's manual, it says that the battery, the most important way to preserve the high voltage battery is to leave your car plugged in when not using it. It says that it's very important. It's particularly important when you're not going to drive your Model Y for a couple weeks. But that whole leave your vehicle plugged in, highlighted, bold, all uppercase, when you are not using it, tells me that they're speaking to the always be charging that Elon has alluded to in the past. And in the next section under charging best practices, and both of these are directly from the owner's manual, it says to avoid allowing your battery to get too low. You know, we've seen a lot of people on YouTube do these tests where they let their battery go down to 0%, 1%, not good for your battery. And obviously they know that. They're just trying to prove it to you. And you know, I've seen cases where people have taken their battery to 0%, their car wouldn't start, and then Tesla figured that out and ended up charging the people for the repairs needed. So I have this mindset that I will not let mine get that low. I kind of run in the 20% to 80% range, and 80% is, if you look at the app and you look at the picture right here, you'll see in the app it says that, you know, 80% is the daily charging amount that you should charge to it. It's called a tip. You know, they're not saying you should only ever charge to 80%, but they're saying the best for your battery is to charge to 80%. So I just wanted to show you those three things between the owner's manual and the app, showing you that always be charging mantra, and you know, don't go too low. In the second one there, it says, you know, that 20% is kind of that floor that you want to sit at. I will tell you that when I go on road trips, I do go below 20%, right? Because I'm trying to stretch out my distance between stops, but I will never go below 10%. If I'm close to a supercharger and I'm at 15%, and my next one's going to take me down to 3 or 4% or even less, I will always stop. I would rather stop one extra stop than end up causing damage to my car. So my mindset is that 20 to 80% range is where I want my car to be on the daily. So here's really the tips that I have for you. My car was showing a lot of degradation. Like my battery health was down in the upper 80s. It was like 86%. And I'm doing all of this based on an app that's called Tessie. Tessie is a an app that you can download, and it will show you your battery health. And this is what it looks like. This is the battery health management that shows up, and I'm going to walk through some numbers and a time frame of when I started doing this the way that I'm going to explain to you what my battery health was and what my battery health is. My battery health was at just under 87%. I think it was 86.8%. So just under 87%. I started, so before we get there, I want to tell you how I charge my battery. One, I do not necessarily charge my battery every night. I do not always have it plugged in. I charge my battery to 80%, and then I will not charge it again until I get down into the 20s. So for me, I can do 3 days of work and not have to charge my battery. Basically, I use 20% per day back and forth to work. So I will charge to 80%, and then the first night I'll come back, I'll be at about 60%, next night down to 40%, next night right around 20%, then I plug it in. So that 80 to 20% range is where I like to get to. And I like to get as close to 20% as I can. So I typically charge every 3 days. And I've been doing that. I started doing that back in June of 2023. That's when I started this data, and I'm going to show you my numbers, and I'll show you the report that Tessie gives you and all of that right now. So using the Tessy app, like I said, in June of 2023, I started using this app. At that time, and I'll put these numbers right here for you, my odometer reading was 37,577 miles. Keep in mind, I have a 2021 Tesla Model Y Performance, but my mileage was 37,577 miles. My max calculated range by Tessie at the time, based on my battery health, was 259.81 miles. And my usable capacity of my battery was 69.06. Now keep in mind that the Tesla is about 70, I think it's about 77, 78%. So I was down 9 kilowatt hours almost from the usable capacity. So that was in June of 2023. Starting in June of 2023, I started doing the 80% to 20%. I did not plug in every night. I let my battery go down, and I only charge when I need to. Doing that increased all my numbers. On the 11th of March, which was just a couple days ago, the last time Tessie did a reading on my battery, my odometer was 49,648. So in that time frame, I've driven 12,071 miles. Kind of scary that I've driven 12,000 miles in 9 months, but I average about 15,000 miles a year. So an increase of 12,071 miles. My max range increased to 273.39. That's an increase of just over 13 and a half miles, 13.58 miles to be exact. And my usable capacity is now up to 72.7 kilowatt hours, an increase of 3.64 usable kilowatt hours. So you can see that doing my charging the way I've done it has increased my usable range. And I can tell you it is exponential. So, you know, when I started doing this, 3 days was a little bit tougher to make in getting the miles that I needed to from that 80% to 20%. Now, when I do it, I'm much closer to that 25% when I get my car plugged in. So bottom line is try to get as many trips in as you can on that 80%. Don't charge every night. I do not charge every night. If you need to make a longer trip the next day and you have 50% on your battery and that's not going to cut it, by all means, obviously charge, because you're going to need the battery time, right? But if you don't need to do the charging, don't do the charging. I charge when my car is low, not every night. And then when it's colder out, I live in Colorado, when the temperatures are colder, obviously this is going to be adjusted. Your range just isn't as good on a cold car, on the cold battery, and so your 80% to 20% might not get you as far or as many days. But that'll do it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, the bell button, so you know when we put up new videos. Drop a like on a comment on this. Let me know, what are your charging habits and what do your charging habits do to your battery on your Tesla? Test this out. Let me know if it helps increase your battery capacity and your battery health improve. That's really what the bottom line is improving the battery health of our EVs so that we can drive farther. But as always, thanks for watching today. Get out, go drive, be safe, have fun, and we will catch you in the next video.